We run, we win. Hello guys, this is James, and someone asked me about information concerning trying out for drum major. So why are we indoors? Well, we're indoors because though we do have videos conducting one-on-one, I believe this is the 12th prescribed one. We do have things about conducting patterns and things like that, and focus and all the things that you can do when it comes to conducting an orchestra. It does apply to the marching band, except for, of course, the marching band is spread across an entire field. And if the marching band is across an entire field, then, of course, you might not be able to do your little subtle things, you have to keep it large enough so everyone, so the people at the on the far left goal line in the back can see you just as well as someone on the far left goal line on the other side. So that's why you want to make sure you have to keep the scale. But I wrote down a few things for us to consider when it comes to trying out for drum major. And this will probably help when it comes to applying for any particular job inside the music world, or really any world, any employer. This will work for any employer. But and if of course you're going to be a conductor as well for a symphony orchestra. By the way, I was blessed. I did have a chance to serve as assistant drum major for 1 year at a school in Alabama, then drum major for 2 years at a school in New York. So it was fun both times. The assistant drum major for 1 year, then drum major for 2 years. So I have a little bit of experience from that. It's fun. Drum majoring is fun. I really like drum major. Thank the Lord for that. Let's start, of course, with director. When it comes to being a drum major, you need to know what type of director do you have. What type of director? I mean, is the director laid back and just anything happens, anything goes? This deals with compatible personalities in addition, but know what type of director you're dealing with, because if you are someone who you like a real attention to detail and you like it worked out till it comes to perfection, you don't like a bunch of mistakes. I mean, you might want to look into that, because if the director's is like, oh, who cares, if you go to a competition, because some bands go to competitions, and if the director is like one of those people who just doesn't care, who cares if people are out of step, we always make 5th place, and who cares, right? Now, if that's how the director is, and you are one of those people who want to practice to get together, and you're one of that, then you'll have to understand, that the director, of course, is in charge of the ensemble. And the drum major really is just an extension of the conductor of the ensemble, the actual director. You are there to do what the director wants, the music director. I guess if you're in a symphony orchestra, usually the music director and the conductor are the same person, but if the music director and the conductor are not the same person, then the conductor really is just an extension of the music director, because the music director is the one who says how everything goes. So you have to understand what type of director you have. Can you work with this person? Literally, there are some directors, I've been blessed really, over the years, you deal with music directors and stuff like that. A lot of them, most of them they respect and whatnot. But some people, there are actually directors out there that are insecure. Even if they are a high school marching band director, there are actually directors and conductors, even out there are music directors, even in the professional world, that are insecure. And, if you are too talented, now this is an issue, if they are a mediocre director and you are a professional level drum major, as in you have real high professional standards, if the director is mediocre and now there are some mediocre directors who are secure and they just don't care. It's really your job to do what the director wants, but you might have a director who is mediocre or a high level, but they're insecure. And if they're insecure, then you'll have to walk in wisdom. You have to ask God how to deal with this particular person, because you can't be, if you join in and decide you're going to assist this person, you are the extension of the director. So that means the director has authority over what's going on. I'm going a little fast. It means that you have to submit yourself to the director. And if the director is insecure, then that means you cannot go beyond, your ideas and what can be done for the ensemble. You can't go beyond the director. So if the director only goes this high, you have to understand and make the differentiation. Decide seriously, if you want to be drum major, can you work at this low level? Some people just love music and they put up with a lot of stuff, Never be a director. If you're going to be a music director, professionally or high school or whatever, please don't be one that people are really just putting up with you. Because, there are people out there that are just putting up with people. But see if you can put up with this person if they're a low level, as most directors aren't, and they're looking for, what's his name? But second thing, another thing, we're talking about compatible personalities for a director. Guys, some directors think that, and school teachers and people think that people don't know anything. And every time they run across somebody, they think they have zero information. I heard about a university professor. When I was going to university, I heard about there was a university professor, you can hear about these things and, wow, their reaction, what people had to experience, but they just thought every person who came into college was an idiot. I mean, not an idiot, I'm sorry, they didn't say an idiot, but they thought that everything they did had to be taught. They had to teach everybody from nothing, like they knew nothing. So every person in the class got a low grade for this thing was writing, because this person who wasn't even in the English department thought that he needed to teach everybody who came in, stuff. And some directors are like that. Some people are like that, where they don't see any growth whatsoever because their mind is down, like, oh, new drum major, guys, you have to consider this. And when you become music directors and bosses and supervisors, you have to understand there are sometimes people who are more talented than you. This deals with also insecurity, but if they think you don't know anything and they need to teach you everything, then as a drum major, you need to, this is already 7 minutes. Wow. As a drum major, I'm not gonna pause it. I'm gonna go through the whole thing. You can come back and finish where you left off. But as a drum major, you do have to understand that you have to deal with what this particular director, you have to deal with their personality. And if they think they have to teach you everything from zero, and even though you know it, since they are the director, they're in charge, same thing with a supervisor, you have to decide if you're going to be able to put up with that. I say put up with it, submission and authority, whereas in you you respect the hierarchy, the director's in charge, you do what you're supposed to do. That's what I mean. Not anything silly. So that's the director. Make sure you work with the director. You have a compatible personality with the director. Please make sure. Listen, just go ahead and know this. If they curse a lot, then you might, especially if you're in college, find out if they curse a lot and they're free with cursing, you don't like cursing, you need to decide if you're going to put up with that and not. Same thing when applying for a thing. If you find that the music director is just does stuff that might interfere with your life, make sure a decision. So guys, you want to be a drum major, look at this director and walk in wisdom and find out what type of person this is and make sure you have compatible personalities, because you will be working for them. Drum major responsibilities. What are the responsibilities that you have to do? Baton spinning, for instance. You need to decide, because I've never had to do a baton. I've seen one, and someone tried to. When I was drum major, I think someone found one, but I never had to use the spin batons. But I've seen other people who did, and universities they do, but they also conduct. Some directors only do batons. And they, some drum majors, even in college, some only do batons, some dance the whole thing, and the director's the one up there conducting. So know if this is a responsibility, if this is what you're going to be doing, or do you need to do both? You need to conduct and spin a baton, because some people use the baton for the parades, other people turn around and conduct. So know the responsibility. If you can't deal with spinning a baton, don't try for the position. Salutes. Do you need to learn any salutes and stuff? I know in Alabama, when I was in marching band for 3 years in Alabama. I was an assistant drum major last year. I was there. there was always a salute. What was I in a marching band for? Yeah, I was. There was a salute where the band had a salute and the drum major had to come up with their own salute. Drum major, is your band ready for exhibition? So you had to find out what type of, if you have to do a salute, because some bands, but when I was in New York, we didn't have to do any salutes or anything like that. So know what your responsibilities are. Can you come up with a salute? Can you ask God for inspiration? You really need to ask God for that. If you can't, if you don't like saluting, if you can't do that, I mean, don't do it. Rookie camps. I remember that. I believe in Alabama, the drum major had to do the entire rookie camp. So that means a week before band camp, the drum major was out there teaching the rookies how to, stand at attention, march in time, and stuff like that. So understand if you don't like teaching people and you just like getting up there and conducting, then you might want to be a professional concert conductor then. If you don't like teaching people from nothing. This also deals with if you want to conduct music, you want to do it at the elementary level where you're teaching everything, middle school, high school, college, professional, whatever, or studio where you don't have to teach anybody anything, you just come in and they play it. So understand if this is a responsibility that you have to do, if you have to do marching band camp, if you have to do any the teaching. Or run also the first year I tried out for, what was it? Yeah, the first year, was it the first year? I think it was the first year. Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe I only tried it one time. I think I only tried it one time. It doesn't matter, I think I only tried it one time. It don't matter. But whatever it was, the first year I remember there were 2 years. Yeah, the first year, what was it? I think, well, it doesn't even matter. The drum major actually did the drum major tryouts, as in they taught us how to conduct and stuff like that. So if you don't want to teach somebody how to conduct, you might not want to be a drum major. I think next year was somebody actually did, what was it? The assistant band director ran it. That was really cool. I ran across a really cool music. And so also, do you have to do that? Rehearsals, do you have to run rehearsals? Yeah, so, do you have to teach anything? Rehearsals, do you have to run a rehearsal? When I was in New York, my 2 years as drum major, God bless, we had a cool director. My friend, me and my friend and I think he was a band captain. I believe he was a band captain. We had to teach the entire routine. I mean, it was a parade band where, it was during the summer up in New York. They didn't have fall marching band. So we had to actually teach the whole routine. And I'm certain the director would do it for the people who weren't thinking about it. But we actually taught the entire marching routine for the entire song. It was really cool. But, like all the movements, the formations, wow, that was really fun. But if you're not able to do that, if the director is expecting you to teach, the routine, I'm not sure. I've never run across any director but that one that actually did that, because God blessed us and we wrote the routine. God gave us the routine. We wrote the routine. So that's really neat. So 11th and 12th graders, those 2 years, we actually wrote the actual marching routine, which was fun. But as far as rehearsals, I've seen marching band drum majors who actually ran rehearsals or whatever. If you actually have to rehearse a song, if the band director is not present, do you have to go ahead and start rehearsal? Do you have to start things? What do you do? Or as the director, find out if you have to do it. Because if you can't rehearse and all you can do is just beat time and conduct, then you might want to wait till you're in college or something to do that. If all you want to do, if you're not, if you have to run rehearsals and stuff like that. So all the responsibilities, bake sales, band things, you have to know. I mean, really, you have to know all about it. You're the drum major. So, you're the student in charge of the marching band. When it's time for competition, the band director is in the stands, maybe on the sideline, but they are just not there. So, you're running the thing. He says, time to do a song. If you're in a parade, if he says it's time to do the song, they say it's time to do a song, then hey, it's time to do the song, but they're not conducting the song. So you're listening and you have to be able to deal with the band and the director, and the rest of the staff. So it's quite a bit of fun. So all the responsibilities. Make sure you know everything that the drum major is responsible to do. You know, really. Discipline. Director or band officers are ready. You know, there is discipline. Both bands had discipline. I think the first one was laps. The second one was push-ups. So you have to understand one school, not one school, sometimes you'll deal with a band where the section leaders, the officers, the drum major, they can issue discipline to the students. You know, take a lap, you did wrong, you know, do push-ups or something like that. There are some bands where the director does it. There are some bands where the director doesn't care how the kids perform or act or anything like that. So you have to understand, if the school, if you have an undisciplined band, you know, you understand how the discipline works, because some people will just let the kids do whatever they want to. And if you're in a band director, you have to understand that. So even though you're serious about wanting them to perform well, and if they keep showing up late for practice, there's no repercussions for showing up late for practice, you know, they just let them do whatever they want to. So that's, you know, you'll have to understand how the discipline works in it, you know, whatnot. If, you know, I don't suggest you ever yell at anybody. That's totally not necessary for you to be hollering. But, you know, some people yell at people, and some band directors laugh. Well, you understand, you always understand. Well, what's wrong with you? You know, stuff, junk like that, you know. Some band directors let you do that, some band directors don't. And some band directors take the entire discipline themselves. They actually discipline the band themselves, and the drum major doesn't have to do anything. So know about discipline. Time commitments. How long before, how long before practice or after practice do you need to show up? Or you just need to show up at regular practice times, you know? There are times when, yeah, if you just have there are some directors where, you know, you just show up, you're just a regular student, just show up, and that's fine. Some directors require meetings, band officer meetings, you know, where they sit there and talk about how many meetings, you know, things you have to attend to and go to. So do you have meetings you have to show to? This time commitments, you know, I mean, seriously, do you have to show up the week before rookie camp and help set up? You know, do you have to, when it comes time for uniforms, you have to do that? Another consideration I was going to say about, I just remembered about responsibility. Some band directors let you choose the music you conduct to. Some band directors don't when it comes to the tryouts. So you have to understand too, if you need to go find some marching band music, or if they're going to, you know, find out the process. So, but do you understand the time commitments? Are you going to be able to do this? I mean, if you are busy and you are saying you want to get a job for your senior year or whatever, and you have to work in the evenings, but marching band, well, I guess if you're a marching band, you're not going to do that, but if you have to work Saturdays, but you know the marching band director has set up for Saturdays or certain things like that, you can't have marching band interfere with something you're supposed to do, a requirement. So that also includes time commitments for school. You know, you're not going to be able to be the drum major of the marching band if you also want to be the captain of the football team. Okay, that's not going to work. So make sure you have the time commitments. If there's stuff you need to stay after, if there's someone like after rehearsal, folks need to run laps because they didn't have their green book or whatever. Does the drum major need to be present for that? Because if you need to go, but you're supposed to be there while they finish running their laps, 1 or 2 laps, or if the assistants can do it. So that's really, really important. So you need to know if you have the time commitments, can you handle the time commitment? Time commitment is very, very, very important. Time commitment. So make sure you can handle the time commitments. I mean, marching band's fun. Another thing to consider is the time management. You can also remember time management, because when it comes to marching band, if you have to rehearse something, you have to stick on schedule, because you know if you got a week for a whole show, you know, then that means things need to get learned properly. So this will work for your conductor too. You know, you have to know about time management. Conducting method. What does the director want? I saw a band with, I guess, 200 people in it, and the person was just a time beater. That's all they did. They just down, in, out, up, you know. But that's all they did, or down, out, you know. That's what the director wanted. The band was huge, whatever. But I also saw a band that was like 2 or 3 times bigger than that, where the drum major was stylistic. He was just having a good time. It was fun. I mean, he, you know, they were both clear in their beat pattern, but understand what type of director you want, because some directors, they don't care what you do. Some directors, all they want is a time beater, and you understand what type of conducting method are you to be using, because if the director just wants simple, straightforward, everyone can see at the end, or does the director allow you for stylistic conducting and stuff like that? Understand that. Yeah, because it's, especially if you have one of those competitions where they judge the drum majors too. So understand which conducting method the director likes, and you have to use that one. Now, many directors, I haven't run across one that said anything. I don't believe anyone's actually commented on anybody's particular. I don't remember anyone commenting on how someone conducted. They don't seem to really care, and they seem to enjoy if they got a real conductor, someone who's really talented and can conduct. So most of them don't seem to care. But do find out if that's what they, what they want, and if you can actually do that. Ensemble. We got two more sections. The third one. This is the second one. We have one more after that. Ensemble hierarchy. Is there a band captain, band, lieutenant? What are they supposed to do? You have to understand the hierarchy. We have section leaders. Are you allowed as the drum major to talk to someone who's in someone's section? See, some band directors allow the drum majors in charge, and they can address anything and every issue. But are you supposed to, understand how, this is probably where the next one, respect, comes from, but are you supposed to address it, or do you need to just go after practice and say, hey, so-and-so, I saw that section, there's a lot of, so-and-so in your section is out of step a lot. That's you have to, we'll move into respect, mutual respect, because you need to know how to address things. Does this 7th grader, there are people who have bands where 7th graders, 5th graders, the marching band, does this rookie need you hollering at them from the podium that they're out of step? Hello? Make sure you remember, some people can handle it, some people can't. So it might be more appropriate. This is where respect comes. There has to be mutual respect. You need to respect the ensemble people. You need to respect the directors too. There's a mutual respect, but you need to they have to respect the conductor, the director, the drum major, but you also have to respect them. No logic in yelling, cursing at them and stuff like that. You need to understand how to address each person individually. So this is this is why we're sitting down talking about we're talking about this now, because you have to, how are you going to deal with this particular person? Do you need to call them out, or is it something where you go to, the section leader and let them say your section there's an issue with the section leader. You need to understand that. Now, if the section leader, but then understand if the section leader doesn't care, then you can do whatever you need to do, go to the directors. But understand the hierarchy, how things work, how to address things. And mutual respect makes you have to respect the ensembles. Those, first of all, those are kids, or students, even in professional, drum corps, people have jobs and responsibilities. Even if this works for anything, if you're a supervisor, you need to respect that they are not solely devoted to that marching band. That is not what they live, breathe. Not everyone in there live, breathes, and moves marching band. They don't, that's not the only thing they do. They got classes, they got homework. So you need to have respect for them and understand that they might have some finals coming up or midterms, so you have to afford that they have classes and a life outside of band. You need to respect that. You cannot, if you're a director or a music director, you need to respect that these people have other things to do. Youth orchestra directors, you need to, this no missing practice, that's straight from hell. You don't have a right to say, if you're not allowed to miss practices, no doctor's excuses, nothing, blah, blah, blah. No. These kids have a life. I'm not talking to you now as a drum major. I'm talking to you youth symphony orchestra directors who take too much upon you, and directors. These people have lives outside. They have parents, family, friends. They have issues that come up, things that have to happen, events they have to attend, and you don't need to put pressure on them to tell them they can't show up. That's wrong. That's inappropriate. You don't need to be doing that. You're out of your purview. You are not God, so you don't really have the right to control someone's life by telling them you're not allowed to miss rehearsals. Back on the band, understand that, the person might have a hard day. If they're, if they had a hard day or something like that. I don't have hard days, but if they had a hard day, or like finals, midterms, family guys, they're people. You need to respect the fact that these are living, breathing people who have feelings. So you hollering at one person or yelling, you need to approach people properly to have respect, mutual respect, so they'll respect you too. You have to respect their feelings and stuff like that. If so-and-so's tired, you're conducting, and your drum major, you see this kid is just tired and out of it, don't make him don't make him keep going through practice. Tell him to sit on the sideline and just watch. If you can tell, say, are you tired? This moves into attention to detail. You need to know and observe. That's why it's not just the conductor, the director. It's not just, you're up there to put on a show. You are responsible. If the person's having a bad day or the person needs to go home, or sit out because they're tired, you should have enough sense to notice. This is why it's beyond. That's why it's mutual respect. It's beyond just getting up there. I'm up there and conducting. I'm just letting you know because people have lives and stuff like that. So you have to address these issues properly. Because if you don't, then you'll miss out. And of course they need to know they care. If a kid is rookie and he's having trouble memorizing the music, you can help them memorize the music or talk with get involved so that you can bring them up, because this is why we have attention, you can help them, which includes attention to musical detail and stuff like that. Attention to detail, musical, the drum major, it is a band, first and foremost, which actually means the music production is the most important thing out of that band. If it doesn't sound good, it doesn't matter what they're doing. If it doesn't sound good, it's not musical. So you, as the drum major, are you going to be, some band directors, like I said, don't care, but the attention to detail is the actual music performance. That is what the band is for. It is a music thing. That's the main thing. That's the foremost thing you're supposed to deal with. But you have to attend to musically. Don't just let them blab. Make sure they warm up properly, and don't just let them just go at it. You don't care about the tonality. You're just having fun. It's just a bunch of noise. It has to be musical. So make sure the music, intonation, the attacks and releases, the breaks, all of it, because they're not only marching. That's the cool thing about marching band, but they're actually marching, moving, whatever. But they're also playing music. So keep the musical aspect in it, because that's one reason they like band, is because of music. So make sure that you encourage them. If it sounds good, tell them it sounds good. That sounds great. Oh, that was wonderful. If they make it louder, this deals with your personality as well. Encourage them. You're a kid. If you're a marching band, you're have fun with it. But musical. This is like really that's moving into inspiration. But you should have fun. It should be a fun, exciting experience for the kids and for you. I say the kids, your fellow students and stuff like that. But it is musical, so make sure if so-and-so don't know the music. That's why you need to make sure, attention to detail, has everyone memorized the song. I remember when I was in marching band in Alabama, they had each person had to play through the whole song. Some songs, we actually had to make sure, the band director made sure each section leader had each person play through the whole song from memory. So that's really, really important. Next is, musical, first of all, technical, okay, are they in step, whatever. The horn pop or whatever, stuff like that. Technical, the visual aspect. It is a marching band, so the visual aspect has to be good. If lines ain't straight, you need to make sure the lines get straight. Now this, you can make observation about it. You can address it directly if the director allows you to do that. Some directors don't. Like I said, what type of director you have. Other directors, you can just tell the thing like, hey, y'all aren't straight. Tell that that section leader, hey, that line is just not straight during this particular thing. So and encourage them. So technical detail, are they in step? Make sure that everything, the physical part of it. Includes the uniform. Everyone's in uniform. The drum major, looking, passing, you have a hierarchy, which people help do that, but make sure that you can attend to the detail about that so they look good, the kids look good. Find out if they need help with their uniform, especially the younger ones putting on their things. Inspiration. Same song will be played over and over and over again, week after week. This is not the professional orchestra where each week is a new song. Usually, there are some bands where they add a new song. Some bands do. Some college bands do a new show every week. But as far as marching band in high school that I've discovered, most of the times a lot of the songs are repeated over and over again, which is why you need to have inspiration. I mean, you need to conduct that thing better and better every time you do it. They need to have the same zeal for the opening first show as they do for the middle show, and even more, whatever, for the ending show. It can't be like, that was just another parade or whatever. You need to have inspiration that's like, yeah, y'all are doing a great job, yay, 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 stuff like that. You need to inspire these people because it's the national anthem. It's the beautiful, wonderful. If you think about it, it's an awesome, if you have to play national anthem, it's an awesome thing. But if it's just boring to you, it's just, whatever. You don't need to do that because it's musical. You have to inspire the kids so they want to come to band practice. This is a drum major. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. That sound. Hey, you can sound better than that. And I've heard like 4 trumpets outblow, out sound 12 trumpets based off who was conducting and what they expect. Kids like it. Your ensemble. I say kids. If you're a student, but as a music director or conductor, people like it when you're interested in what they're doing. If they sound good, tell them they sound good. They like that stuff. I mean, they enjoy that you're enjoying it and they're enjoying it because music, hey, you should enjoy life and enjoy music. And the kids really need to enjoy it because you don't know what type of week they had. This might be the highlight of their week, each marching band practice, because they don't do anything. They're not in sports if they're not. So marching band's about that. So they get to go to the football games and cheer on the team, but make sure that you inspire. Inspiration is very, very good. It's necessary because it does continue. And you have to be able to maintain that, your excitement. You can't be, the ensemble goes up to, sometimes passes, but most ensembles usually don't get higher than the director, whoever's conducting. So if you're not into that song, yay, the fight song, yay, it's the fight song. Our team, you're playing in cut time or whatever. I'm doing it smaller. The fight song's in cut time. Yay, yay, we won, we got that touchdown. But guess what? You have an awesome football team, so they keep getting touchdowns every single quarter. I mean, we're talking 50-something to 0. So you're doing the fight song like 8 times every. I mean, come on. We're not talking about pep rallies where everyone's hollering and screaming. We're talking about, yay, the fight song. But I mean, come on. If you got a good football team, you be doing that fight song a lot. But you have to keep the inspiration. I think you get the idea. Let's move on down. Keep the inspiration. So that's one thing. Incidentals. This is the last thing. Projection voice. You are dealing with a marching band, which is, you're not inside of a closed concert hall where the sound, projects easy or whatever. You're on a field, which is important too, which is why you have to make sure the band, has breath support too. That's something you have to, they have to play louder because if they're spread out, but projection, you have to project your voice, go from down here when you talk, Baton, hut, go from the, that's, if you're a singer, you should do that too anyway. But projection, they have to be able to hear you. If you have a squeaky voice, you might not need to be the drum major if you don't want to get some projection in there, because they have to hear you if they're at the end of the field. If you say stop, whatever, if it's time to do something, let's start at, measure 48, unless they got that blowhorn thing, or what blowhorn, whatever it's called. So you have to make sure projection. So you have to go out there and start practicing now. Baton, or whatever, parade, rest, band, horns up, whatever it is. You have to make sure you have good projection so you can actually go ahead and start practicing that. Because you do have to be loud if you have to deal with it, get everyone's attention. You don't have to yell, but when it's time to do, commands or whatever for the band, that's the projection. Clarity, your pattern has to be clear, because remember we're talking about now we're expanded on a football field, so the pattern has to be clear. So you will probably not be doing that because you do have so a lot of people have white gloves, so that'd be easier to see at nighttime. But make sure whatever it is, it's clear that they can actually keep in time, which means you really need to know the song completely. You need to know the cues when the people are coming in. You really need to do that because even though it looks cool and they're doing all these things on the field, you are still conducting. You still have to know where the trumpets are, because the trumpets, in marching band, if you're in the classroom and the trumpets are there, then that's awesome. But if you're on the field and the trumpets are there, then that means you need to cue them over there. so that means you not only know the music, but you also need to know where the trumpets are and stuff like that. Even when you're going through songs, you need to know where they're at. So clarity, everyone needs to be able to see you. Now that also includes what you are saying to them too. You can't go rambling off. Keep your words, clear. So clarity, your pattern, everything needs to be clear what you're doing, because you have a whole bunch of people, 50, 100, whatever, 200 people, even if you're in a college band, 300 people, whatever, are looking at you. So what you do has to be really, really clear. So whatever, it has to be focused and stuff like that, so that they can understand what you're doing. And especially when they're out on the marching field and the stadium's full, they need to be able to look at you and know what's going on. They stay in time and stuff. Observation, field command, that's part of it. You are in command of the entire field. So that means that it's a serious thing too. You have to lead them onto the field. Yeah, tell them band 10 hut, start the marching onto the thing. You have to be in charge. It can't be like, what do we do? What do we do? We do. I haven't ran across a drum major who couldn't do that, but but I mean, there's no time for indecision in that. You got 50 people, you need to know what's going on. The band director says, get them off the field now. Get them off the field. Rain's coming, and we forgot to put what's name. So the rain's coming, get them off the field, and get them off the field as quickly as possible. So, you do the thing or whatever, and, cut the song short if rain's coming and they don't have any covering for the uniforms or whatever. So field command, you are in charge, and you have to make sure you can maintain the whole thing. Now, another instance is, when you're not in marching band, you are not in charge of them. So if they see you, this is another thing that a lot of people can't deal with. They can't differentiate with dealing with work and socializing. So if a rookie walks up to you and says hello and they wave at you, in the hallways, you can wave back, whatnot, because they consider your friend. They know you, especially if you're a senior and they're in the 8th grade. That's cool. They know a senior, yay. So but also remember, you are only in the drum major position as a drum major, and outside of that position, you're a regular student. So make sure you still keep respect for the students and stuff like that. If they're in charge, let them do it. That also includes allowing people to do whatever they want to. If you are just sitting in on a rehearsal, let the section leader or the assistant drum major or whatever, just let them do their job. So observation, but field command is important, so you have to have command that, but also remember that outside the thing, remember, be in your position when you're in your position, but when you're outside, this goes down to grace, attitude. Your attitude when it comes to performing, no pride. We don't have time for pride. That's wrong. You don't have time for that. You don't need to be lifted up in pride anyway. So you got, which also includes when people you should be approachable as a drum major. Okay, if you're, no matter what you are, you need to be approachable. Because if you're not, you're probably in pride. That's a good music director. Oh, he just doesn't talk to the ensemble. No. He's a human. They're a human. That's it. Or whatever. You're a person. They're a person. They need your grace and attitude toward them. Now, you know how to deal with people who are, foolish and have bad attitudes. Put your foot down and deal with that. But you always have to have. Yes, that's another thing too. If your friend is breaking the rules, that's another thing you need to consider. Are you going to be able to mete out judgment? Are you going to be able to mete out punishment to your friend? Or if your friend gets in trouble, who doesn't have their green book and your friend ain't got the green book, well, they running laps. And I've been blessed, the drum majors I had, even when I knew I remember the first one I ever had, she was a great drum major. She was a good friend, but guess what? I had to run laps and stuff like that. I had detention one time. We didn't have our green books. The band director gave out detention once a year. It was just random. I don't know why. But we got detention. I think it happened once. We forgot our green books and we got detention. But the thing was you had to be able to give that out and do your job. If you are not able to discipline your friends, then you don't need to be drum major. If you're not able to tell them what to do, but I'm saying if you have proper respect and grace and attitude, they really just don't care. They just do their job. Because most people, that's just, oh, he's a director. We just do what he tells them to do. When you respect them, but if you're a real mean person, they're not going to respect you and stuff like that. And they're not going to come to you when an issue comes. A rookie needs to be able to come to you if their section leader is not doing what they're supposed to do. The rookie should be able to talk to you, so what I'm saying is you have to have grace. Don't get in pride. Don't be unapproachable. So that's what I want to encourage you to do. So you got the director, the drum major, the ensemble, the incidentals. Make sure the thought process. Ask God if you need to do it or not. Otherwise, he might have something else to do. God, what do you want me to do in life? In Jesus' name, amen. And let God show you. But as far as those things, make sure I want you to consider that before you try out for drum major, because and this works for any ensemble, any position you have, anything, because will you be able to fulfill that position properly? This is all the stuff that you get to enjoy. All this stuff is fun, but you have to have it. This is the business side of being a drum major. But all that's fun, and you have all that, then you can just go on and have a wonderful marching season. I love you. Thanks for joining me. And remember, live, move, be.